Great weekend so far in sports, and we do have the NFL coming up today. So I'm going to give you my picks for that in the final segment of the show, as we do, as well as a very surprising final point. You're going to want to stick around for that. But a lot of things happened yesterday in college football that I am not necessarily thrilled about. And they happened in the SEC. One, and I told you should never, ever, ever take gambling advice from me because I thought Tennessee was going to cover against Missouri. And that backfired horribly. Tennessee lost by 30 to Missouri. And I can't think of a single reason why that happened. This is a better Tennessee team than started the year. That was a winnable football game, in my opinion, against a team that doesn't really play defense. A Tennessee offense that it started off slow, but through the past few weeks sputtered to life. Won a game against Auburn that nobody thought you guys were going to win. You know, I mean, you go down, you win. You won some games this year that I believe no one gave you. Right? Got steamrolled by Florida. That's tough. But Tennessee won some football games that I don't think anybody thought they were going to win. So I thought when they went on over to play Missouri, that was going to be a different result than what we ended up getting. So someone explain to me how it is that Missouri puts up 50 points on Tennessee's defense. I know it's not the greatest defense. They're not world beaters. This is not the greatest defense we've ever seen. And Missouri's offense is pretty dang prolific. Drew Lock is a bona fide stud, going to be starting somewhere for somebody on Sunday in the next 3 seasons of NFL football. I mean, he's that good. He really gets it. He's erased a lot of the mistakes that he made earlier in his career. But you've got to be kidding me if for whatever reason you think Drew Lock can put up 50 points on you and that's supposed to be fine. Meanwhile, Tennessee didn't score in the first quarter and Tennessee didn't score in the fourth. Like, what is that? Again, another piss poor running performance from Tennessee. It's not as bad as when they played Charlotte. I mean, when they played Charlotte, they have 20 total yards of rushing offense. If you took away negative yards for sacks, they still only had 40. This isn't as bad as that. 82. Still pathetic. I mean, there's no getting around that. This is still pretty sad situation. You had to go with Keller Christ at quarterback. Keller Christ, not what anybody thought he was going to be. I mean, when he transferred over, I thought that he was going to win the starting job. And the fact that he was not able to beat out Garantano tells you everything you need to know. And then the fact that, Garantano throws 2 passes and then he's out at that point in the game, and you need Keller Christ to help this offense keep up its momentum. And the fact that he couldn't do it through 2 picks. And then the running game. It's 82 yards. 82 yards of total rushing offense. You can't find 82 yards on the ground against Missouri? Against Missouri? This is not a team that is great at stopping people running against them, right? Like this is the perfect team that if you are a struggling rushing offense, as Tennessee is, if you are a struggling rushing offense, this is the team that you should be able to go out there and get something done against. I mean, over 100 yards of rushing combined with everybody that ran the ball is not too much to ask. It isn't. And we didn't get there. We didn't get there again. All right? 150 yards passing. Because he also had some throws for some negative yards. I mean, how do you do this? How do you actually do this? And Jeremy Pruitt, man, this is a guy that's got his work cut out for him, because I honestly think that this was the best that he could get this team to do. That was the best he could get them to do this year. Like, Tennessee is the school where they're moving and trending in the right direction. And Tennessee fans are they're just hungry for accountability. You realize that? Tennessee's had some head-scratching losses this year. This has not been a year that's been all, snowflakes and everything. And yeah, you're very patient with the new coach that comes in after what Butch Jones did to this program, which is essentially just leave it upside down and burning on fire. That's essentially what Butch Jones left here. But I mean, you start the season, you get leveled by West Virginia, you win your next couple of games against ETSU and UTEP. You're supposed to win those games. Then you get leveled by Florida. Then you get leveled by Georgia. No one expected you to beat Georgia, but I mean, that was the game where Tennessee just got pushed around from the word go. Beat Auburn? Yeah. Lost to Alabama by lots and lots. Okay. Lose to South Carolina in a close game. Winnable game, but close game. Beat Charlotte 14-3? That game, even though it was a win, they should have given Tennessee the loss. That was ugly. They should just go ahead and give you an L for that one. And then you beat Kentucky, who I thought was overrated anyway, personally. That's my personal opinion on Kentucky, that they were never a great offense and certainly never a great defense. But then Missouri drops 50 on you, and why aren't Tennessee fans rampaging? Why aren't we seeing all of the negative posts on social media? Because Tennessee fans at this point have a really low bar. They have a really low bar of satisfaction right now. Accountability. Jeremy Pruitt is accountable. Jeremy Pruitt will sit there and tell you, I didn't coach well enough, and that's why we lost. Guys weren't ready, and that's why we lost. We just didn't play well. No excuses. We just didn't play well. I can sit there and explain to you all the different reasons why we didn't play well. We just weren't good enough. Accountability. But here's the thing, Tennessee fans. That's basic. You should expect more from your football team, and you should expect more from your coach than just accountability. Don't get me wrong. You need accountability. We had first row seats to what happens when you don't have accountability. All right, talking about Butch Jones. We had front row seats, popcorn, Sprite, 3D glasses, everything. We had front row seats to what happens when you're not accountable. Butch Jones was blaming everything but himself and his squad for losing. And sometimes would act like a loss was somehow a moral victory. And I actually believe in moral victories. But I mean, some of the moral victories that he was claiming were there, those aren't moral victories, man. You just lost. You just lost. Just eat it. It's fine. And Tennessee fans have been so starved for basic accountability. First level accountability. Like, I'm not going to give you a ton of credit. Now, I'll give you some credit for being accountable. Their coaches do actually try and escape responsibility on a fairly regular basis. Jeremy Pruitt is not here throwing his players under the bus, backing up the bus, then driving over them again. That was a Butch Jones move. He's not doing that. He is accountable. I just think that you got to expect more from this football team than accountability when Missouri puts 50 on you and you're sputtering to 17 points. Didn't score in the first, didn't score in the fourth. You're sputtering to 17 points. And I appreciate the accountability of Jeremy Pruitt. I do. But we need answers, man. Like, that actually requires some answers. When I look at some of these games, and he did hold himself accountable for Missouri, for Charlotte, for South Carolina, for Florida, for West Virginia. He held himself accountable. I don't blame him for the Georgia loss. Georgia's just a better football team. Georgia's got a chance to be in the playoff. I don't even hold him accountable for the South Carolina loss. That was a close game. South Carolina's a little bit better. But I hold him accountable for the Charlotte win. You rushed for 20 yards in that game and sputtered to 14 points. Sputtered. Missouri drops 50 on you, and you sputter to 17 points against that defense. That defense that somehow still thinks it's in the Big 12. Like, Missouri's not great. Can you guarantee that Tennessee beats Vandy next week? Can you guarantee that? Because I can't. Because you see, I can't guarantee that. I'd love to. But Vandy's a real defense. And Tennessee's offense is struggling. It struggles, and it's inconsistent. And it's a shame that they didn't have Garantano in that game. Jared Garantano, I thought, was making strides at quarterback, that he was moving in the right direction, and with him, the offense was moving in the right direction. But with or without Garantano, they weren't running the ball well. With or without Garantano, against Missouri, who everyone has run on this season, against Missouri, 82 yards of rushing offense is not enough. It's not enough. All right, I'll give you an example. All the other teams that Missouri has managed to play so far, they've been able to run the ball against Missouri. Right? Like Missouri beat Vanderbilt the week before, 33-28. But Vandy was running the ball. Right? They weren't on top of the world. But they were running the ball. Right? Like and Kyle Shermer and Vandy, that's a roller coaster ride. He's taken a step, but he's taken a giant step back. And to be clear, Vandy struggled to run the ball in the fourth quarter. But Vandy was running. I mean, this 82-yard situation, if you are Tennessee, you just can't accept this. You can't. This is a Vanderbilt team that, against the run, they're 29th. It's not bad, but people run on. It's just I don't understand what Tennessee is doing in terms of running the football, and you're going to have to be held accountable if you're Jeremy Pruitt for that and beyond. I don't think basic accountability is something that we should be. Wow. Did you see that? Jeremy Pruitt took the blame for that. Guys, it is impressive when compared to Butch Jones. But this is normal head coach stuff. It's being accountable. That is the most basic. That is the most basic thing I can expect from you, right? It's one of the things that when you look at politicians, for instance, there are things that politicians do that when they do it, it's absolutely amazing. If a politician is particularly generous and particularly kind, that's something that we go, oh, that we don't see that very often. But when a politician is charismatic, that's a basic quality that a politician ought to have. All right? If an accountant or a lawyer is details oriented, no one is impressed, because that is the most basic quality that job position has. And here comes the Tennessee Volunteers and Jeremy Pruitt being accountable. And Jeremy Pruitt, by the way, is probably the first person to tell you that there's absolutely nothing impressive about being accountable. He wants to win. So if the coach himself does not find what is going on to be acceptable, can the fan base get with the coach? We've got one more game left in this season. Can the fan base get with the coach on this? Basic accountability is not something that we should all be impressed with at this point. Yeah, obviously, coming from Butch Jones, it's a little alarming to see. But there are some things that I think a coach should already have. A coach should already be accountable. If you went to go get your taxes done and the person doing your taxes, you walked away, and the thing that you walked away with from that is, man, that guy's details oriented. I like that about him. you got problems. And I don't know who was doing your taxes before, but I hope the IRS doesn't find you. Being details oriented is the most basic part of that job. Most basic part of that job. Just not something to be impressed with anymore at this point. You're listening to All New Nougat Radio, NougatRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. I thought that was surprising. Just jumping around all of college football. Another reason you shouldn't take betting advice from me. I'm telling you, you can take betting advice from me for the NFL. I'm decent at that. I'm decent. Like, probably still don't, but I'm decent at that. I don't feel like I'm going to lead you astray too far there. The TCU played Baylor yesterday in a straight pick'em. The over-under was 56.5 points. I said take the over. The final of that game was 16-9. The final of that game was 16-9. And I don't even know what to tell you at that point. I don't have words. Oh, man. I don't have words. Alabama struggled a little bit. Hey, Bama fans, you wanted a close game? You got one for a half against the Citadel. Right? You scheduled Cupcake, the Citadel. And to be clear, the Citadel is a very good Southern Conference team. They're not having their best year this year. They're 4-6. But they are usually fairly frequently, every few years or so, in the mix to win the Southern Conference. They're one of the better teams. Them and UTC and Wofford. Bama went into halftime against the Citadel tied at 10. And I do have a problem with that. Because Alabama's whole thing that they've been telling us all year long is, look how bad we are beating people by. And we're supposed to just trust that means that Alabama deserves to be in the playoff. Because Nick Saban doesn't have a problem not winning the conference title. You know, Alabama is a beatable football team. I know that nobody wants to hear this, and I know that it sounds like a hot take. It's not a hot take. They're a beatable football team. And just because nobody in the SEC can do it doesn't mean that they are unbeatable. And I'll tell you why. Alabama in the SEC isn't the best conference. It's a great conference. But it's not the best conference. And when I say that not the best conference, I mean from top to bottom. Right? When we talk about the NBA, the Eastern Conference, and the Western Conference, which conference is better? The West has the best teams. The East is better from top to bottom. I can name off the top of my head in the Eastern Conference 5 teams I actually want to watch on a nightly basis. I actually want to watch Toronto. I want to watch Boston. I want to watch Philadelphia. I'd like to watch the Bucks. Giannis is turning into a monster. And the Pacers are pretty fun. They're pretty good. So that's 5 teams in the playoffs. I mean, we're going to have a blast with them. Look in the West. Outside of Golden State, Portland, who else do you want to watch? Utah's taking a step back. The Grizzlies are doing some good things right now, but I'm not convinced that that's for real. I got to see a whole lot more basketball from them. It's the Blazers and the Warriors. The Rockets are garbage now. It's the Blazers and the Warriors. They have the best 2 teams. They don't have the best conference. Same thing for the SEC. They've got Georgia. They've got Bama. They don't have the best conference. They don't. I think Big Ten is better, top to bottom. You know, I do think the ACC is very weak, but I think we've maybe inflated how weak the Pac-12 has been. The Pac-12 is at least as deep as the SEC. So I don't think we just pencil in Bama if they don't win the conference title and if they don't beat Georgia. I don't think we get 2 SEC teams in this year. And I know it's something we've gotten used to doing, but we do not get two SEC teams in this year. You're listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. Clutch with Keon Rose.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A woman who had just been arrested and released for DUI reportedly slammed into the back of another car on Hickson Pike at Cassandra Smith Road. 3 children were inside that car. Anita Clarity was arrested. She denied that she was drinking. Human remains were found just off of Boy Scout Road in Hickson on Friday. Detectives are looking for answers. They say the skeletal remains appear to be human. The Hamilton County Medical Examiner's Office is processing the scene. Stacey Abrams, candidate for governor in Georgia, says that she's not conceding the race, but she acknowledges that Brian Kemp will be certified as the winner in the 2018 gubernatorial election in Georgia. She earlier said she was going to sue for a recount of the votes. I-75 northbound near Bonnie Oaks Drive is still going to be under construction over the weekend into Monday morning, so use extreme caution in the area and watch out for construction workers. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
David Toulis on Made the Move, 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nuga Radio.
92.7 Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
After some patchy morning fog, today more nice weather for your Sunday with some sunshine, highs 60 to 62. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows into the lower 40s. Some passing clouds, but still mainly dry Monday. Highs of around 60 with more sunshine and cooler weather Tuesday. What did Jesus mean when he commanded us to be ready? Find out in Looking Up, Living in Anticipation of Christ, a book by local author Eddie Turner. Available now at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And I'm Source 12, Chief Meteorologist at your 4.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Where to go for lunch today? Go to the Top. The Top of the Hill Country Buffet offers a delicious lunch buffet every day. Golden fried chicken with mashed potatoes from scratch, daily fresh vegetables, a full salad bar with all the fixins, and fresh homemade cobbler. In addition to the buffet, Top of the Hill also offers a full menu. Plus, kids eat for $5 all day. Top of the Hill is located in Ringgold on Remco Shops Lane and is open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Where are you going for lunch? Go to the Top.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. But if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric. You're our winner.
Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Listen to that. That's the sound of power and the call of the open road. That's the sound of the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join Nuga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships as well as after-school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
The kids are back in school, routine has returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hicks and Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio.
Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio.
Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to all new Nuga Radio and NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today. So, Mike McCarthy, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, though maybe not for long. Dude's toast, man. It's not a secret that Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy's relationship, it's not good. It's on the rocks. And look, anytime you work with somebody for that long, it's going to be annoying and hard to work with them. Even Belichick and Brady's relationship is tenuous, right? Like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick don't always see eye to eye. They don't always get along, but they work through it because they're winning. Winning patches all of that stuff up. Bill Belichick is hard to work with. Hard to work with, man. He's a my way or the highway kind of guy. Difficult. But you know what? He wins. You'll put up with it. Who's going to put up with Mike McCarthy? They lost to the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football, and it is one of the more egregious losses that I've seen for a team that needed it. That was a must-win game. And I know that we throw that phrase around loosely. It's a must-win game. It's a must-win game. That was a must-win game. Because if the Packers want to make it into the playoffs, they've got to go undefeated from here on out. And I don't see it. I've not seen a football team that can go undefeated for the rest of the season, given that their schedule also includes another appearance from the Vikings, another appearance from the Bears, all of their divisional rivals. And they're better than them. All the divisional rivals are better than the Packers are. I don't see it. And they had a game that they were dominating the game against the Seahawks. They were playing a better game than Seattle was. And they had an opportunity to ice it. It was fourth down. It was 4th and 2. 2 yards. 2 yards. And Mike McCarthy, with 4 minutes in the game, punts the ball away. And you knew they were never going to see the ball again. The Packers didn't trust their defense. They had a bunch of guys out, especially on that defensive line. They weren't going to see the ball again. Seattle is the best rushing team in the NFL. It's a surprise. I know. Trust me. I saw that stat. My eyes popped out of my head. They're the number 1 rushing attack in the NFL, just based on total yardage. If you have the lead. And Green Bay, by the way, was doing a very good job running the ball that day. Try and go for it on 4th and 2. You're in 2-down territory. It's not like if you punt it, you gain any particular kind of advantage. Mike McCarthy did the old Butch Jones. He said, I looked at the chart. I looked at the chart, and the chart said punt. Then your chart lied. Then whoever put your chart together needs to be fired because the chart was wrong. And yes, you could blame Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had a 3rd and 2. He threw the ball. Bad pass. Was incomplete. They could have picked up that first down right there. He said the ball stuck on his hand. But Aaron Rodgers did about everything that he could do outside of that. And what you're essentially saying is Aaron Rodgers is not allowed to have a bad throw. That's a lot. He's only human. He may be the best quarterback in the NFL. He may be at the very least, because some people will disagree with me that he's the best. He's the best. But you may disagree that he's the best. But he's at the very least the most talented in terms of what he brings to the table with mobility, accuracy, arm strength. If there's anybody better than Aaron Rodgers right now playing at this exact moment, you find him for me. You find him for me. I don't think you're going to find one better than Aaron Rodgers. So what you're telling me, though, is even though Aaron Rodgers might be the most talented guy, Aaron Rodgers is not only not allowed to have a bad game, which even the best have from time to time, Aaron Rodgers isn't allowed to have bad throws. Aaron Rodgers has to be perfect. And if your quarterback is the most talented quarterback in the NFL, he's gone into hostile situations and won games for you time and time again. If that's your guy, and even he has to be perfect for you to win football games, somebody's wrong. Either the GM is wrong because he didn't put the talent out there, which you could make a very strong argument, though their GM, I believe they hired a new one last year. So the talent's not going to be out there. Either the GM is wrong or the coach is wrong. And I'm going to go coach on this. Because Mike McCarthy has had problems managing the clock late in games before. Mike McCarthy does not have the reputation that Andy Reid has, because Andy Reid's got clock mismanagement before, but Andy Reid has gone to 3 straight NFC championship games with Donovan McNabb, who's a very good quarterback, but he ain't no Rodgers. Right? Like Andy Reid has gone farther with less. So if Andy Reid mismanages a clock here and there, we'll let him live. Mike McCarthy has done less with more. I mean, with these Green Bay Packers teams that Mike McCarthy has had, you could make the strong argument that he has underachieved as a head coach. You look at the quarterbacks who have been in the NFL, in the Super Bowl in the last 10 years, simply gone to a Super Bowl. These players include old Peyton Manning, Colin Kaepernick, who's not in the league. And a lot of people believe that that's because of just his play style is so gimmicky. We're not sure if he can even come back. I believe that he's being colluded against, but that's neither here nor there. Colin Kaepernick, Nick Foles. These are the quarterbacks who have gone to a Super Bowl. And in that same time frame, from 2008 to 2018, Aaron Rodgers has been to 1. Aaron Rodgers has been to 1. How is that possible? Right? And these are the quarterbacks that I believe are not at the same level of Aaron Rodgers. Old Peyton Manning is not at the same level of Aaron Rodgers. Old Peyton Manning was not on the same level as a lot of his quarterback peers that year because he was old. Right? He played half a good season. He didn't even play well in the Super Bowl that they won. That was all the defense. Joe Flacco, nowhere near the same ballpark as Aaron Rodgers. Nick Foles, nowhere near the same level as Aaron Rodgers. Now look at the guys, and also Eli Manning. Nowhere near the level of Aaron Rodgers. Now look at the guys that we say are elite in that same span of time. Ben Roethlisberger's been to multiple. Drew Brees, many NFC title appearances. Tom Brady's been to multiple. Russell Wilson's been to multiple. All the guys that we think are elite have been to a few. Aaron Rodgers has been to 1. That's the coach. Coaching matters in the NFL. Like in the NBA, we blame the players. In the NBA, we blame the stars. Coaching has a lot to do with it, but coaching doesn't have that much to do with it. In the NFL, that's the coach. And Mike McCarthy has gotten a very long leash. If you want to know, if you want to know what a Super Bowl ring will buy you, it'll buy you time. You notice that in the NFL? You ever notice how much time Super Bowl will buy you? A Super Bowl will buy you time. It'll buy you time. Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl in 2009. He hasn't been anywhere near back then. Check that, 2010. He hasn't been close to coming back then. Hasn't been close. In 2010, McCarthy ain't been back. And he's still the coach of this football team. And they've had lots of underachieving years. They've had years where Aaron Rodgers has been injured and that offense looks weak and anemic. And I know that you downgrade from Aaron Rodgers, your offense is not going to look good. But, man, you look at what happened with the Patriots without Brady. They're able to still roll. There's some level where the coaching is just not adequate. It's just not adequate. Mike McCarthy has wasted the time that Aaron Rodgers has. And he's still got time. He's still in his prime, but he's not at the peak of it. He's coming on the descent. He's coming down the backside of the prime. Mike McCarthy's wasted all of it. Every other team that has a quarterback that we think is elite, teams that have Brady and Breeze and Roethlisberger, have all made many runs to Super Bowls. And only Mike McCarthy, with Aaron Rodgers, who you could make the argument, most talented quarterback in the league, has wasted it. I mean, the talent's not really around Rodgers in that way. But I mean, you look at some of the stuff that they've schemed, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes the play calling is too aggressive when it should be easy. Just run the ball. The Packers are actually really good at running the ball. They're not the best team in the league, but they're really good. So why did they run the ball only 6 times in the second half when they were winning? A game that they were essentially dominating wire to wire until he inexplicably decided, let's punt it because the chart said so. I mean, pardon me, but like, damn the chart, okay? It doesn't make any sense to do what it is that Seattle would like you to do. Doesn't make any sense. What is the thing that Seattle would most like you to do with 4 minutes left and you have the lead? And you've got one timeout. Punt. Punt. That's what they most wanted you to do. And then you did it. I will never for the life of me understand that decision. I'll never understand it. Mike McCarthy made a knuckleheaded decision and then blamed the chart. Where have we seen that before? Vols fans know what I'm talking about. Where have we seen that before? You make a late game decision that doesn't make any sense and you say, well, that's what the chart said. Well, then your chart was wrong. Your chart was simply wrong. Like, Mike McCarthy's not getting it done. And I don't know that Mike McCarthy makes it past this season. They'll let him coach the rest of the year because it's possible. Green Bay could go on a run. They could win every single game that they have left. And they have to now. They have to. They could actually do it. Aaron Rodgers has run the table before, but this is a tough schedule that they have. And this is the third time this season that Aaron Rodgers has tried to win a game for the Packers, and somebody else has made it so that he's not capable of going out there and winning. This time it was McCarthy. In the Rams game, right? The guy that returned it, fumbled it, came out of the end zone when he shouldn't have come out of the end zone, so Aaron Rodgers doesn't get to lead a comeback there against the Rams team that, quite frankly, they had on the ropes. I mean, you had multiple times this season where Aaron Rodgers doesn't even get the chance to lead his team on a comeback. And it's all been self-inflicted wounds. Listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. Makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. So that's what a Super Bowl buys you. Buys you a lot of time. I mean, same thing with Baltimore and Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl in 2012. It is now 2018, the year of our Lord, 2010 and 8. Joe Flacco has not been good since. Right? Like, Joe Flacco played really good football for 1 month. One. And Joe Flacco has had 6 years of being unchallenged in Baltimore as the starting quarterback of that team off of 1 Super Bowl victory. We overrate Super Bowls and quarterbacks. Yes, it's important. Yes, that's your job. Yes, that's what we want you to do. But bad quarterbacks, real bad quarterbacks, get an opportunity to continue to be bad much longer than any of us ever thought. Joe Flacco has been terrible since 2012. He hasn't looked anything like the guy that won that Super Bowl for 6 years, for over half a decade. That's what a Super Bowl win will buy you. Right? Which kind of leads into my next point. Marcus Mariota can be a franchise guy. He can be a franchise guy. I don't know if Marcus Mariota is ever going to be a superstar. I think that ship has sailed. For a guy drafted 2nd overall, that is a little bit disappointing that he'll never be a superstar. Because when you draft a guy 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, those top 5 picks, it's a superstar that you're looking for. When you draft Andrew Luck 1st, that's the superstar you're looking for. You're not, you draft Matthew Stafford. He's been up and down his entire NFL career, but he's got a strong arm. He plays like a guy who wants to be a superstar. Marcus Mariota was taken 2nd behind Jameis Winston. Jameis wants to be a superstar. He just can't be for so many reasons, off the field and on the field stuff. He's just not growing up in either department. But Mariota's growing up on the field. Marcus Mariota can still be a franchise guy. It's not what you want when you draft a guy 2nd overall. There's a reason why we're not as disappointed in Andy Dalton, even though I believe I'd take Marcus Mariota over Andy Dalton. He gives you more weapons. He gives you a stronger arm. He gives you a more accurate arm. He gives you a better deep ball. He gives you better mobility. But we're not as disappointed in Andy Dalton. Why? Because Andy Dalton was end of the 1st, beginning of the 2nd, that kind of quarterback. You weren't drafting him to be a star. If he became one, hey, good for you. But you're playing with house money at that point. Marcus Mariota can still be a franchise guy, though, for a number of reasons. He's still very young. He's still growing as a quarterback. And he's actually been trending upwards. Unlike Jameis, unlike Dak, he has been trending in a positive direction throughout his career. This is year 4. And a lot of people believe year 4, year 5, whether or not you have a franchise guy. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but I think you do know whether or not you have a superstar. The superstar, you can know that very quickly. You know when you first see Deshaun Watson play, that guy's a superstar. That's easy. I know when I see Patrick Mahomes, that guy's a superstar. Easy. The superstars are easier to tell because they have some intangible quality that's just exciting, that's just thrilling, that brings everything to life. Marcus Mariota doesn't have that. It's not his game. It's not who he is. That's fine. I don't see that as a problem. I really don't. That's just not who he is. You'd like that guy drafted at 2nd to be that. You would. And as far as second picks overall go, is this one of the more disappointing ones? But look at the guy that was taken 1st. So you could say that entire quarterback draft class was just sort of doomed to fail in that regard. But is Marcus Mariota the worst quarterback in the league? And you look at all the starting quarterbacks in the league, I think you take Marcus Mariota over half the league. And I just named a bunch of quarterbacks who aren't the best guys in the league. Right? Who appeared in a Super Bowl. You would take Marcus Mariota over Nick Foles. You would take Marcus Mariota over old Peyton Manning. You would take Marcus Mariota over Joe Flacco right now. You would. I'd take Marcus Mariota over Eli. Case Keenum is actually a starting quarterback in the NFL right this moment. I take Marcus Mariota over him. Sam Darnold is a turnover machine. You take Mariota over him. I'm still not. I know the Cowboys won last week in Philadelphia on Sunday Night Football. Still no believer in Dak Prescott, right? The Cowboys are a very good football team, and when Dak plays well, they play well. But Dak is not consistent. I take Marcus over Dak. I take Marcus over Trubisky. A lot of what Trubisky's doing has to do with the fact that Matt Nagy is scheming him into some of the most brilliant plays. If you gave Marcus Mariota a Matt Nagy caliber offensive mind, well, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'd take Marcus Mariota over Trubisky, over Rosen, over Bortles, over Derek Carr, over Alex Smith, Ryan Tannehill. That's like half the league. I mean, I understand that you want to criticize Marcus Mariota. Taken second overall, is he as good as a second overall pick ought to be? No, because at second overall, you're looking for a superstar. You're looking for a superstar at second overall. He's not going to be a superstar. But can Marcus Mariota be a franchise guy, lead you to a Super Bowl? If all the pieces fit around him, if he's got receivers and those kinds of weapons and a great defense, he absolutely can. He absolutely can. If Joe Flacco can do it, and Eli Manning can do it, and Nick Foles can do it, Marcus Mariota can do it too. You're listening to All New Nuga Radio and NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A woman who had just been arrested and released for DUI reportedly slammed into the back of another car on Hickson Pike at Cassandra Smith Road. 3 children were inside that car. Anita Clarity was arrested. She denied that she was drinking. Human remains were found just off of Boy Scout Road in Hickson on Friday. Detectives are looking for answers. They say the skeletal remains appear to be human. The Hamilton County Medical Examiner's Office is processing the scene. Stacey Abrams, candidate for governor in Georgia, says that she's not conceding the race, but she acknowledges that Brian Kemp will be certified as the winner in the 2018 gubernatorial election in Georgia. She earlier said she was going to sue for a recount of the votes. I-75 northbound near Bonnie Oaks Drive is still going to be under construction over the weekend into Monday morning, so use extreme caution in the area and watch out for construction workers. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
After some patchy morning fog today, more nice weather for your Sunday with some sunshine, highs 60 to 62. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows into the lower 40s. Some passing clouds, but still mainly dry Monday. Highs of around 60 with more sunshine and cooler weather Tuesday. What did Jesus mean when he commanded us to be ready? Find out in Looking Up, Living in Anticipation of Christ, a book by local author Eddie Turner. Available now at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And I'm Source 12, Chief Meteorologist Asher 4.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga roofing contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com. For Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
My ex recently hacked my email and my social media, and it really caused me some problems. I changed all my passwords, which helped, but I'm still getting trolled, maybe even stalked. I know it's him. I just can't prove it.
My business, well, it's been broken into twice already. I've got cameras, but that only helps after the fact. I'd rather prevent it from happening in the first place.
Unity One East is your solution to these and many other security concerns. With private investigation, security services, and backed by decades of real-life experience in military and law enforcement, Unity One East is your instant contact for security, investigation, and consultation to help protect you, your family, and your business. No 1-800 number, no red tape, no wait, because Unity One East is local and available 24/7. Reclaim your peace of mind. Call Unity One East, 475-6206, 475-6206.
Whether you have marginal, moderate, or even extensive hair loss, you don't have to live with it. Finally, there's a procedure that becomes a part of you, and it requires no daily maintenance or special care. Let Apollo Hair Systems give you a free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 423-803-1011 and schedule this free evaluation today. Open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Apollo Hair Systems, 5512 Ringgold Road in Chattanooga. 423-803-1011 for Apollo Hair Systems.
Paid for by Diane Black for governor, Tommy Whitaker treasurer.
So, who are you supporting for governor?
I think I'm voting for Bill Lee.
So you're voting in the Democratic primary?
What?
Bill Lee really ought to be running in the Democratic primary. I mean, he'd see a lot of familiar faces.
Hello?
All right, look, Phil Bredesen's running in the Democratic primary for Senate.
Yeah?
Well, Bill Lee gave Phil Bredesen money.
Wait, Bredesen's big-time pro-abortion.
And Carl Dean's the Democratic candidate for governor.
Big-time liberal.
Well, Bill Lee gave Carl Dean money, too. And Bill Lee pushed for Megan Barry to be mayor.
She's pro-abortion.
WPLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Quicken Loans.
I'm Allison Keys.
Una preghiera speciale.
Pope Francis offered a special prayer at the Vatican today for the victims of the deadly California wildfires, asking the Lord to welcome the dead, comfort the families, and support those who commit themselves to rescue. California Governor Jerry Brown is blaming climate change for the intensity of the flames, telling CBS's Face the Nation.
I think over the next months and years, you'll see the science becoming crystal clear, and even the folks in Washington that are now more in the denialist camp are going to come around.
High winds could hit the state today, complicating the efforts of fire crews, and heavy rains could come this week, possibly causing floods and mudslides. At least 79 people are dead, but the search for victims continues. President Trump says a very full report will be released early this week about the killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. There is a tape of Khashoggi's death, but President Trump tells Fox,
"We have the tape. I don't want to hear the tape. No reason for me to hear the tape."
Mr. Trump has said reports that the CIA has determined that Saudi Arabia's crown prince ordered the killing are premature, and he has continued to praise that nation as a close ally. But Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul tells CBS's Face the Nation,
I think the evidence is overwhelming that the crown prince was involved. So no, I don't think we can sweep this under the rug.
There could be early elections happening in Israel.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is holding last-ditch negotiations to try to prevent the collapse of his government. He told the cabinet that early elections would be the wrong move at a sensitive time for Israel's security. The defense minister resigned last week in protest over a ceasefire with Palestinian militants in Gaza, weakening Netanyahu's grip on power. Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem.
That contentious race for governor in Georgia is finally over. The state certified the results of the November 6th election, and Republican Brian Kemp defeated Democrat Stacey Abrams in the race. She tells CNN thousands of ballots weren't counted.
We know that there has been a dramatic discrepancy in the way absentee ballots are both allocated and counted across the 159 counties. And so, yes, there was a deliberate and intentional disinvestment and, I think, destruction of the administration of elections in the state of Georgia.
Abrams, who was trying to become the nation's first Black female governor, refused to formally concede to Kemp, who oversaw the election while holding the office of Secretary of State. This is CBS News.
National Mortgage Lender Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Licensed in all 50 states, equal housing lender, NMLS number 3030.
Yes, buying jewelry can be scary. Yes, you might not know exactly what to get. And yes, you could play it safe. But real devotion means being a bit more daring. That's why Jared's Dare to Give Big semi-annual event is the perfect time to take the leap. Get the best prices of the season from November 14th to the 18th on an amazing collection of jewelry and exclusive pieces you won't find anywhere else. This holiday, dare to be devoted. Because yes, she's going to love it. Some exclusions apply. Visit jared.com for details.
Target is here to help you discover all the ways to get your holidays done. Like order pickup. Just order ahead and have it waiting for you at the store. Try Drive Up in the Target app and we'll bring it right out to your car as soon as you arrive. And now, we'll bring the holidays home to you with same-day delivery shopped by Shipt. Whether it's a TV, hot cocoa mix, or ornaments for the tree, Target makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Target run and done. Learn more at target.com/ways to shop. Restrictions may apply.
40 years ago this month, CBS's Tom Foti covered the Jonestown murder-suicides in Guyana. Now he's looking back.
Following the jungle airstrip murder of California Congressman Leo Ryan and 4 others, back in Jonestown, Guyana, an even more incredible event was taking place, an event few would live to tell about. People's Temple cult member Odell Rhodes was one of those few.
Jones told the public there that these people wouldn't reach the States and that everyone there would commit suicide.
Shortly after that, American helicopters removed the remains of more than 900 men, women, and children who followed a man named Jones to a would-be utopia in the steaming jungles of South America. Tom Foti, CBS News.
Pope Francis praying with thousands of poor people today in Vatican City as the Catholic Church dedicates today to the poor around the world. The Pope says while the cry of the poor becomes stronger, it is drowned out by the din of the rich. Allison Keys, CBS News.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A woman who had just been arrested and released for DUI reportedly slammed into the back of another car on Hickson Pike at Cassandra Smith Road. 3 children were inside that car. Anita Clarity was arrested. She denied that she was drinking. Human remains were found just off of Boy Scout Road in Hickson on Friday. Detectives are looking for answers. They say the skeletal remains appear to be human. The Hamilton County Medical Examiner's Office is processing the scene. Stacey Abrams, candidate for governor in Georgia, says that she's not conceding the race, but she acknowledges that Brian Kemp will be certified as the winner in the 2018 gubernatorial election in Georgia. She earlier said she was going to sue for a recount of the votes. I-75 northbound near Bonnie Oaks Drive is still going to be under construction over the weekend into Monday morning, so use extreme caution in the area and watch out for construction workers. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
After some patchy morning fog today, more nice weather for your Sunday with some sunshine, highs 60 to 62. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows into the lower 40s. Some passing clouds, but still mainly dry Monday. Highs of around 60 with more sunshine and cooler weather Tuesday. What did Jesus mean when he commanded us to be ready? Find out in Looking Up, Living in Anticipation of Christ, a book by local author Eddie Turner. Available now at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And I'm Source 12, Chief Meteorologist Asher 4.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
I'm Bo Watson, and I approve this ad. Neighbors, I'm your state senator, Bo Watson. Jobs, education, safety. These were my priorities when I first ran for office, and they continue to be my focus. We've made great progress in Tennessee the past 4 years. Let's keep it going. Believe in Tennessee. Vote Bo in November. Paid for by friends of Bo Watson, Boy W. Watson III, Treasurer, VoteForTennessee.com.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. My voice sounds like I swallowed a cheese grater. What on earth is happening to my throat? I might be getting sick. That's very possible. Which I'm the guy that goes to work and like just, you know, my ears falling off, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. But I might actually have to wave the white flag on this one. My voice does not sound good. And I've been subjecting you to this for an hour. And there's a whole other hour of me doing this to you. So I am kind of sorry, but only kind of, because we've got football to talk about. We've got a lot of football to talk about. The SEC has a problem, and it's been a problem for years. It's been an actual problem for years. I'd love to get Nick on, see what his take is on this, because, SEC fans do not admit this, and we actually have a way to change it now, or at least 13 people in America have a way to change. It's the cupcake problem. We all know that SEC schools play their rivals, whoever that may be, whether it's a conference rival or an in-state rival, at the end of the season. And before that, usually, a cupcake school is scheduled. Some little sister of the poor for big old bad, we're the best conference in football SEC schools to just beat up on. Bama played the Citadel. Auburn played Liberty University. Georgia played UMass. A&M played UAB. LSU played Rice. I'm from Texas. Y'all played Rice. Get out of here. This is a problem. Because I think that if you're the SEC, it actually helps your claim to say that you're the best conference in football. And look, I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying there are other conferences that are better top to bottom than you, though your top is higher than most people's top. And I'm saying that this is not what fans want. If you think I want to spend a Saturday afternoon watching Auburn punch out Liberty. Liberty didn't score. What did Auburn score? 57 in that game? If you think I want to spend a Saturday afternoon watching Liberty just get worked, you don't know what college football fans want then. How am I supposed to trust your opinion on that? If you think that I want to watch LSU style all over Rice, you got another thing coming. I absolutely do not want that as a college football fan. And they do this every year. Bama is the king of it. But look, the schools shouldn't stop. Right? Why should the SEC commissioner get involved in changing this? It's not his job. In fact, his job is to get as many schools represented in the college football playoff as humanly possible. Having a cupcake on your schedule that you can just punch around right before the end of it is like having a free bye week. Under no circumstances should SEC schools stop. It doesn't make any sense. I would never ask Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Ed Orgeron to stop this. It gives them the best chance of being where they want to be. But look at the other conferences. Big 12. West Virginia is looking forward to their end of season battle with Oklahoma. They overlooked Oklahoma State, and they lost. Good Oklahoma State team in conference. Look at Michigan. Michigan's looking forward to their day of reckoning with Ohio State because they haven't beaten Ohio State since Jim Harbaugh's been there. That's what they brought in Harbaugh to do. They get a chance to go to their conference title off of beating Ohio State, and they get a chance to be represented in the playoff off of beating Ohio State as well. Plus, they haven't beaten Ohio State since their coach has been there. Yeah, I'm looking to Jim Harbaugh to just beat the brakes off of Ohio State if it's humanly possible. But first, he had to get past Indiana. Indiana's a solid enough ball club in conference. There's a little bit of drama there. You can't overlook someone else in your conference. And now Michigan has the opportunity to do something that nobody's done. Win 9 games in conference and win a conference title. If they do that, you have to put them in the playoff on the strength of that. 9 games in conference plus win the conference title. You have to put them in just on the strength of that. There's a little bit of drama there. Ohio State, getting ready for their matchup with Michigan, played Maryland. Maryland's been playing good football this year. Acting coach Matt Canada won that game by a single point, 52-51. Drama. Oklahoma played Kansas. Kansas is terrible. But that's not Oklahoma's fault that Kansas was there on the schedule. Kansas is in the conference. And at the very least, you have the drama of, well, maybe we might be overlooking Kansas, which they did, by the way, because they were playing good defense on Kansas until the fourth quarter when Kansas put up 23 on them boys and got it to 40. They scored 40 points on an Oklahoma team that, man, is just not interested in playing defense at all. At all. And, of course, Texas played Iowa State, and Texas was in the mix until a couple of losses sort of in the second half of this season. But before the end of the season, nobody wants to see you play cupcakes. That's my point. We want to see you play people in your conference. We want to see you play games that matter. Bama versus the Citadel doesn't matter. Okay? Auburn slapping around Liberty doesn't do anything for me, college football fan at home. But there's actually a way to change this. There are 13 people on the college football playoff committee. And they don't have to reward this. This should be the one good thing against moving away from computers. Because when you go towards human beings make mistakes. Human beings have biases. This committee is biased strongly towards the ACC because Syracuse should never have been ranked in the top 15. It's very strong bias towards the ACC. And we can live with that if the committee uses their power for what it's supposed to be used for, which is getting college football conferences to change their ways. That's right. Remember when the Big 12 tried to trot out the co-championship situation? You remember that? The first year of the college football playoff, Baylor and TCU were co-college football champions. Co-college football champions. Do you remember that? Why did they do that? Because they didn't have a championship game. They were just going to give the championship to whoever had the most games, and they both were tied. And so here's what the Big 12 tried to do. They tried to put the committee in a situation where the committee had to choose which one actually was the conference champion. And maybe, just maybe, the committee might choose both. And what did the committee do? Neither of you are getting in. Neither of you are getting in. So now what? Now the Big 12 has a conference championship game. Surprise, surprise. The whole time the Big 12 was telling us, well, we don't know if we can have one. We don't have enough teams. And a bunch of excuses. Look at it now. They have a conference championship game. And you know why? Because they tried to be slick and the committee said no. That's why. That's the only reason why. They thought they were slick. And the committee said, nah. Nope. And the committee can do that here. This is the SEC trying to be slick. Only the SEC's been doing this for years. They actually are being slick, and the committee can say no. The committee's not going to stop a team that's won its conference championship from going in. But if you're an SEC school and you want to go in, you better not schedule yourself a bye week, because that's what this is. When you're playing the Citadel, you better not schedule yourself a bye week. If Bama doesn't win the conference championship, if they don't win the SEC and Georgia does, as good as Bama is, and I don't think anyone's going to argue that they're not the most talented team in the nation, they shouldn't get in. And that'll change that scheduling system real fast. They shouldn't get in. Because what Alabama's asking us to do right now is just trust that they're actually really good. They haven't played the best teams. They've played in conference, and the teams that they've played in conference, they are better than. There isn't a team in the middle of the SEC with an offense strong enough to challenge Bama. Georgia might be able to push him a little. Georgia found their running game a few weeks in. DeAndre Swift has really found his stride. But there isn't a team in the middle of the SEC that can really challenge Bama. And all that Alabama is asking us to do is trust that a bunch of these schools that can't offensively challenge them and the cupcakes that they've played, just that they've been beating them so bad, trust us. We're that good. Nope. You got to prove it on the field. You've got to schedule some actually difficult games. That's why you play games. So we don't have to guess. That's why we have a college football playoff. Because for a really long time, it felt like we were guessing. Well, it felt like a bunch of computers were guessing for us, but that somehow feels worse, actually. Even though we had a bunch of classic college football games year after year after year, we still didn't like the fact that we didn't see games played out on the field. So how much sense does it make that Alabama's going to schedule cupcakes and then we're supposed to go, yep, that means they're good? Especially when you schedule the cupcake and you go tied into halftime 10-10. If you're going to schedule yourself a cupcake, blow them away. Blow them away. I don't want to hear any excuses. The Citadel should not hold you to 10 points and a half if you're Alabama. Shouldn't happen. Blow them away. Right? Auburn blew Liberty away. That's just not fun. That's just not interesting in any stretch of the word interesting. It's just not. And I don't know what we're supposed to do with any of that. What are we supposed to do with that? You're trying to watch some college football games on a Saturday afternoon. And we tried to do our picks yesterday on the Breakfast Blitz yesterday, Nick and I, 8 to 10 every Saturday. Last segment of that show, college football picks. We were trying to scare up some games to pick because nothing in the SEC was worth picking. Like all the interesting games were in other conferences because only the SEC does this. And until the committee punishes them for it, either punishes a Georgia or punishes an Alabama, because Georgia played UMass, and they didn't look great against UMass either. I do think they were overlooking UMass, but if you're going to schedule UMass, blow them away. I don't want any excuses. If you're going to go out of your way to schedule one of the little sisters of the poor, I don't want excuses. Blow them away. It's uninteresting either way, but one tells us about what kind of football team you are. Right? One tells us you deserve to be in the playoff. Schedule a good team and beat them, or blow away the bad team that you scheduled, and the committee should punish you for scheduling bad teams. I'm not going to trust the SEC. I'm not going to trust Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher. I'm not going to trust these guys not to schedule weak teams in November. Games ought to matter more as you get to the end of the season. This is why in the NFL, they put all the divisional rivalries, they backloaded the schedule in divisional rivalries. You know why? Because those games are interesting. Those games are crucial. Those games start to matter a whole lot more when they happen in December. The NFL gets it. The Big Ten gets it. The Big 12 gets it. The Pac-12 gets it. Why can't the SEC get it? Because they don't have to. And there are 13 people in the committee that can change all this. You're listening to All New Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. Want to shift gears to the NBA. Kevin Durant, Draymond Green. It is old news at this point, but I do want to talk about what this means for the Warriors moving forward, which is that the Warriors beyond this season, that's done. That's done. This season, they're still the best team in basketball. Draymond Green pointed this out. They're still going to win a title. Have you seen another team that can play at their level when they're playing their best basketball, or even 75% of their best basketball? They've had some bad losses, but that's, I think, more to do with the trouble in the locker room than anything. Right? Like this isn't a basketball team that has any equals in the NBA. But moving past this season, they're done. Pat Riley called it the rule of more. Call it the rule of more. The reason why dynasties don't stay together is somebody somewhere on the team wants more. They either want more money, more attention, more shots. This is one of the things that you always worry about when you have that many stars on a team. You got a bunch of alphas in a locker room. Who's going to take the last shot? Well, Draymond thought it should be him. And to be fair to Draymond Green, who was wrong, by the way, in every stretch. I mean, he dribbled into 4 guys, bounced the ball off his foot, and they didn't even get a shot off. Draymond was wrong. But in fairness to Draymond, getting the rebound, dribbling up the floor, and unlocking things for everybody else, that's been his job. The problem is, of course, Kevin Durant kind of does that job a little bit better. One of the most dominant shooters in the league. KD. Just a little bit better at doing that specific thing. But you have 6 seconds on the clock, game's tied. Kevin Durant calls for the ball. I don't know about you. I give the ball to Kevin. He's the best pure scorer in the league and possibly the best pure scorer in league history. It's so easy for him. He can get his own shot. Kevin's looking at Draymond like, dude, I stuck a shot in LeBron's eye from 35 feet out in the NBA Finals 2 years in a row, which is the reason we're champs again. Give me the ball. And then Draymond went with the nuclear option. In a relationship, you can always go with the nuclear option. Right? Like, I have a girlfriend, a lot of, if you have a wife, girlfriend, significant other, whatever, you know this. There's something that you can say in a conversation, in an argument, that you'll win the argument. You'll also blow the whole relationship up. That's the nuclear option. Draymond Green went with the nuclear option. He won the argument. But he blew the relationship up. First off, he called Kevin Durant the B word. Called Kevin Durant the B word. And actually, that didn't even bother Kevin that much, is what I heard. Called him the B word. That didn't really bother him. But then he said to Kevin, we won championships without you. We'll win championships after you. We don't need you. Get out of here. Now, that's referencing, of course, the fact that Kevin might be leaving in free agency, which I think he's definitely leaving now. Like, I might just leave to spike you at this point. But yeah, that's the one thing we know that Kevin Durant is sensitive about. And Draymond actually said it in the locker room in front of everybody in an argument. That's the nuclear option. We all have that in our relationships. You know what it is. You know exactly what you can say to your significant other. You'll win the argument. You'll blow the relationship to hell. You will take that thing apart. And I think the Warriors after this year are done. And I also don't think that they're locked to win championships anymore with Kevin Durant gone. Obviously. They weren't a lock before. I mean, they were still great. They're still, I think, the best collection of talent, and I think in terms of how they play the game. But this thing is shot. And Draymond Green did the apology, non-apology thing. You know, it's bad. I don't think this is going to stop them for the rest of the season. They're too talented. They're too good. They'll get past this. Like you always do. If you have to work with somebody and you don't really like them, but you have to work with them every day and you butt heads fairly often, you're just going to get past stuff just to do the job. But after Kevin's gone, he's gone. That's a fact. I don't think that's debatable necessarily. I think he's gone. They lost him right then because Draymond had to go with the nuclear option. Right? Jimmy Butler went with the nuclear option, and he's no longer a Minnesota Timberwolf, which suits him just fine. Suits him just fine. He had a great performance in his home debut as a 76er. And then last night, Jimmy Butler hits the game winner, which, man, that's exactly what the 76ers need. That's what the doctor ordered for the 76ers. Somebody who can go out there and get their own shot. Somebody who can go out there and get a bucket when they need a bucket. That's what they need. It's pretty cool how that's worked out for Jimmy. You just have to remove him away from guys who are soft. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, those guys aren't soft. Markelle Fultz might be soft. I don't know. But those guys aren't soft, and that's exactly what it is that Jimmy needs. A bunch of guys as fiery as he is. Listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A woman who had just been arrested and released for DUI reportedly slammed into the back of another car on Hickson Pike at Cassandra Smith Road. 3 children were inside that car. Anita Clarity was arrested. She denied that she was drinking. Human remains were found just off of Boy Scout Road in Hickson on Friday. Detectives are looking for answers. They say the skeletal remains appear to be human. The Hamilton County Medical Examiner's Office is processing the scene. Stacey Abrams, candidate for governor in Georgia, says that she's not conceding the race, but she acknowledges that Brian Kemp will be certified as the winner in the 2018 gubernatorial election in Georgia. She earlier said she was going to sue for a recount of the votes. I-75 northbound near Bonnie Oaks Drive is still going to be under construction over the weekend into Monday morning, so use extreme caution in the area and watch out for construction workers. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
David Tulis, I made the move 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nuga Radio.
92.7 Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
After some patchy morning fog today, more nice weather for your Sunday with some sunshine, highs 60 to 62. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows into the lower 40s. Some passing clouds, but still mainly dry Monday. Highs of around 60 with more sunshine and cooler weather Tuesday. What did Jesus mean when he commanded us to be ready? Find out in Looking Up, Living in Anticipation of Christ, a book by local author Eddie Turner. Available now at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And I'm Storm 12. She's meteorologist at 4.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Where to go for lunch today? Go to the Top. The Top of the Hill Country Buffet offers a delicious lunch buffet every day. Golden fried chicken with mashed potatoes from scratch, daily fresh vegetables, a full salad bar with all the fixins, and fresh homemade cobbler. In addition to the buffet, Top of the Hill also offers a full menu. Plus, kids eat for $5 all day. Top of the Hill is located in Ringgold on Remco Shops Lane and is open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Where are you going for lunch? Go to the Top.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford at Fort Payne. Their selection is huge, but if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at Landers McClarty Ford at FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at Landers McClarty Ford at FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric. You're our winner.
Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Listen to that. That's the sound of power and the call of the open road. That's the sound of the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join Nuga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships as well as after-school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
The kids are back in school, routine has returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hicks and Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours with Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio.
Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today. However it is that you are listening to the show, you know that I appreciate you. You can listen to it, obviously, in your car, on the radio, but if you're at home, around the house, on your phone, we're live on Facebook. We've got a live stream going on Facebook. We've got a live stream going on YouTube as well. If you want to see what the inside of our studio looks like, it's a little messy, by the way. People need to clean up after themselves. It's the last segment of the show. And in the last segment of the show, I like to do the picks. I like to do the picks of the NFL, all the games that are upcoming. And I think I'm going to add some other games to the docket as well, because we've got the Thursday night games coming up next week. And so that's going to start next week. I'm not going to get the chance to pick those games, obviously. So we're going to talk about those as well, which means I will have to hurry through this very quickly. Bit of news, though. Lamar Jackson getting the start for the Baltimore Ravens. The LJ era has finally begun. I get to see somebody other than Joe Flacco for the Ravens, because Joe looks bad, man. Joe looks really bad. Granted, the start is not because Joe's been bad, because John Harbaugh would stick with Joe Flacco forever if he had to. Joe injured his hip in practice, and they weren't sure if he was going to be able to play. Lamar Jackson is going to get the start, and I am absolutely excited for that. And you know, they still got RG3 backing him up and all that. So we'll see how that works out for the Ravens today. Let me start with the 1:00 games. Dallas Cowboys visiting the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are 3.5-point favorites, and I'm taking the Falcons. They lost to the Browns last week in just absolutely brutal fashion. But let me tell you something about the Browns. People keep sleeping on them and that defense. That is a real defense that the Browns have up there. Legitimate. That defensive line is horrifying. Right? I mean, Myles Garrett leading the charge there. Denzel Ward, who they just drafted at corner. Denzel Ward should be up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know if he'll win it, because there are a lot of guys that are playing their pants off this year. But he's in that conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's how good he's been so far. The Falcons have a small defense, and that's the reason why they weren't able to stop Cleveland. Cleveland's got a big offensive line, Nick Chubb, big running back. They've got big wide receivers. They don't always catch the ball, but they've got big wide receivers. And you got a small defense in Atlanta, you can push them around. Dallas doesn't have everything like that. The injuries on their offensive line are pretty well known. I think Ezekiel Elliott is a big back. He's going to make things difficult for Atlanta. But Atlanta's speed and the fact that the Cowboys don't have big receivers, that's going to affect this a lot. Also, do I trust Dak Prescott? You've listened to the show. What do you think? No, I don't trust Dak Prescott. I really don't. He's been inconsistent all year. Only 11 touchdowns this season. Still hasn't had a game where he's thrown for over 175 yards yet, which 33 quarterbacks in the league have done. And they're only 32 starting jobs, right? 33 guys have managed to do this. None of them have been named Dak Prescott. The next 1 o'clock game, Steelers visiting the Jaguars. The Jags are 3-6. They look hopeless and defeated. I mean, look at them. You look at the body language of that team. They're shell-shocked. Blake Bortles is still their quarterback. They can't run the ball, even though they brought in Carlos Hyde. This is a bad football team. Meanwhile, the Steelers are firing on all cylinders. Roethlisberger's hit his stride. James Conner is playing very well in place of Le'Veon Bell, who's no longer coming back, even though the Steelers did reach out to him. Juju Smith-Schuster has become that extra weapon across from Antonio Brown. The Steelers, taking the Steelers. The Buccaneers visiting the Giants in this week's version of the Boo Boo Bowl. And I'm going to take the Buccaneers because the Buccaneers can throw for lots and lots of yards. They have trouble scoring in the red zone, or at least they did last week. You know, the Buccaneers lost to the Redskins last week, had over 400 yards of total offense, didn't punt the ball, and somehow lost that game. They didn't punt. It was all turnovers in the red zone. But the Giants aren't as good on defense as the Redskins are. The Redskins are a much better defensive unit, especially in their front seven. The back end could use some work, but especially in their front seven, they're a much better defensive unit than the Giants are. The Giants are at home. They're 3-point favorites. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going with Fitzmagic, even though there doesn't seem to be any magic left. I'm still going to go with Fitzmagic. 1 o'clock, the Texans and the Redskins, both 6-3, though the Redskins have done this the uglier way to 6-3. The Texans lost 3 in a row to start the season and have been 6-0 since. They are the better football team here. Even though they're on the road, they're 3-point favorites, and I understand that entirely. The Redskins defensively have been bend but don't break, but offensively leaves so much to be desired. I don't see an offensive eruption happening for a team that has been struggling with offensive line issues. Their entire right side of that line is gone. Gone. Morgan Moses is there, but he's not healthy. He's dinged up. Trent Williams had thumb surgery 2 weeks ago. He might come back. He might play with a cast on his arm. Maybe. This offensive line looks awful. And big part of what the Redskins do is running the football, and you can tell when the offensive line has been unhealthy. They haven't been able to. They don't have any wide receivers. Josh Doctson, their young wide receiver that they drafted 2 years ago, he's starting to emerge a little bit, but I don't think he's developed enough to carry this team. Meanwhile, the Texans are red hot. I think the Texans go into Washington and beat the Redskins. The Titans visiting the Colts, the 5-4 Titans, and I thought that they were goners. They had some games that they let slip away. But as I mentioned earlier in the show, Marcus Mariota, I'm back on the bandwagon. I don't think he'll ever be a superstar. I really don't. But can he be a franchise guy? Can he lead this team on a playoff run? Lesser quarterbacks have done it. Eli Manning has done it. He's led the team on 2 playoff runs. But look at Eli Manning's career numbers. They're average to below average. Eli ain't great. Look at Flacco's career numbers. Average to below average. But he can get hot and lead you into the playoffs. And Mariota could be better than those guys. He already is better than those guys. I would take Mariota now over Eli in his prime. I would take Mariota now over Flacco in his prime, whenever it was that actually was. Maybe that month leading up to that Super Bowl that they won, that was his prime. I would take Mariota over that for the long haul with Flacco. He's just got more upside. Andrew Luck is playing incredible football, though. This is the best Luck has ever looked. And I'm talking even pre-injury Andrew Luck. 26 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. The fact of the matter is there's no rushing attack there. The receivers are still And Andrew Luck is still going out there and getting it done. Like I think this is the best that Andrew Luck has ever looked. They're 1-point favorites at home, but I'll be completely honest with you. They could be 3-4-point favorites. That is how much I believe in the Colts. I like the Titans. I really do. But there's nothing that I've seen that says that they're going to stop Andrew Luck in the way that he's playing at that high level right now. I'm going to take the Colts to improve to 5-5 at home. The Bengals visit Baltimore, go to the Ravens. The Ravens are 6.5-point favorites. Joe Flacco, as I mentioned earlier, he's not playing. Lamar Jackson, the rookie, joining his fellow rookies, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and we'll see which of these guys gets to be the best of the bunch. I'm looking forward to watching that game in large part because When it comes to a guy being a superstar kind of guy, he shows up and you kind of know within those first few starts, do the Ravens have that Lamar Jackson? Was Ozzie Newsome's last draft pick that for them? An answer to the Joe Flacco era that has been largely meh. I think one Super Bowl is way more than what you should have ever thought you were going to get out of a Joe Flacco-led football team. So here comes Lamar Jackson. Andy Dalton had a bad week last week because he didn't have A.J. Green. I don't know how healthy A.J. is going to be this year. I'm going to go with the Ravens at home. There's a reason why they're 6.5-point favorites, and it's because that defense, no matter what Lamar Jackson does, if Lamar Jackson protects the football, that defense will keep them in the game, and that defense will give them a chance to win it, and I don't trust Dalton without Green. The Panthers visiting the Lions. The Lions are 3-6. The Panthers are 6-3. The Panthers coming off of that thumping that the Steelers gave them. But the Lions aren't as offensively potent as the Steelers are, obviously. Meanwhile, the Panthers are like the Redskins in that if the Panthers score on you early, the game's kind of over. They can keep a score. They can keep ahead of you on the scoreboard with a combination of that defense and running the ball. Christian McCaffrey is having a brilliant year. Cam Newton himself obviously is part of that rushing attack and also does just enough passing the football to give the Panthers life. At 6-3, I think the Panthers improved to 7-3 today over the Detroit Lions and a team that is still dysfunctional and trying to find their footing. Moving to the 4:00 games. The Broncos at 3-6 visit the Chargers 7-2. This is a divisional game. So even though the Broncos are, the weaker team here, the lesser team, the last time the Chargers played the Broncos earlier this season, it was still a little bit of a struggle for the Chargers. Plus, the Chargers are a Los Angeles-based football team, and the Broncos are playing in the frigid cold. If you think it's cold in Chattanooga, you don't even know what it is to be in Denver, Colorado. That's the reason why I imagine the Chargers are only 7-point favorites despite being the better team. But Phillip Rivers is doing a fantastic job. Melvin Gordon is one of the best running backs in football, and Keenan Allen is a legitimate threat, and that's not even all the weapons that they have. Meanwhile, Case Keenum is the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. Need I say more? Chargers, and I'm taking the 7 points. Of course they're going to cover. The Raiders visit the Cardinals in the Boo Boo Bowl Part 2. Actually, do not care about the outcome of this game, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I'll give them the edge because I don't think John Gruden's going to win any more games this year. Yeah, I said it. I don't think John Gruden wins more games this year. I don't. Josh Rosen, on the other hand, look, the young man is learning to be an NFL quarterback the hard way, taking lumps that I don't believe the Cardinals ever wanted him to have to take with an offensive line that stinks, with wide receivers that can't catch. This is being thrown into the fire. This is what the Cardinals didn't want when they signed Sam Bradford. And Sam Bradford was no good. Sam Bradford has earned millions and millions of dollars as an NFL player. I can't even be mad at Sam Bradford, man. You might not be a legend on the field, but my man, you are a legend at the bank. 4:25 p.m., the Eagles visit the Saints. The Eagles are 4-5, struggling this year. They miss Lane Johnson, their all-pro right tackle. Carson Wentz is still trying to find his footing. They can't run the ball because they have way too many injuries. Jay Ajayi is gone. And look, I like the Eagles. I want them to be able to try and defend this title because it just makes sense on paper. But this team has dealt with injuries. They're playing the you're the number one team in your division. You play the number one team schedule. You play all the number ones from the year before. So, I mean, the Eagles are dealing with all of that. They've got a target on their back. I don't think that they were prepared for that. Meanwhile, the Saints are just humming along. Drew Brees, the most accurate quarterback in the history of football. Michael Thomas is the best wide receiver in football this season. He's the best. It's not even close. Michael Thomas has caught 89% of the passes thrown in his direction. That is not human. That's not human. Michael Thomas has caught 89% of the passes thrown in his direction. So you have the most accurate quarterback that ever lived, and you have a guy who's doing something that no one's ever done. 9 of 10 passes that he's targeted on, he catches. And Drew Brees has had great receivers before. Michael Thomas might be the best of them. And then you got Sunday Night Football. The Vikings visiting the Bears. Very good game. A lot at stake. The Vikings attempting to get to the top of that division again. Kirk Cousins, the $75 million man. All guaranteed. This is what they paid him for. I think they overpaid for him. I don't think they're going to get what they paid him for. I'm a Redskins fan. I watch the Kirk Cousins show every year for the last 3 years. There's a reason why that team didn't franchise tag him. I do believe the Redskins went about it in the most dysfunctional way possible because they are, in fact, the Redskins. But they weren't wrong to not pay him this last time around. They weren't. He's not worth what they're paying him up in Minnesota. And they're going to find this out very quickly. The Bears are better. The Bears are better on defense, top to bottom, front to back, defensive line all the way back to secondary. And the Bears are better on offense. Trubisky's not better than Cousins. But Matt Nagy is helping him along. And then they run the ball better, slightly better. The only advantage that the Vikings have is that they've got more weapons at wide receiver. But as I mentioned before, that all depends on what Kirk Cousins does. Is Cousins your guy? Is Cousins really your guy? Which brings me to the Monday Night Football game that we have all been waiting for. Monday Night Football has largely stunk. Last week, we had the Niners and the Giants, which, wow. Can they not flex out of some of these games? They have to. That's terrible. That's an eyesore. I didn't even turn the game on. I watched the highlights the next morning. I will be watching this Monday Night Football game. The Chiefs visit the Rams, 9-1 versus 9-1. 3.5-point favorites are the Rams because they are at home. Mahomes versus Goff, Kareem Hunt, Todd Gurley. I mean, these are teams that are loaded with offensive weapons. These are also both teams that have underachieved on defense. Check that. The Rams have underachieved on defense because we thought they were actually going to be good. Aaron Donald got his money. They signed Ndamukong Suh. We actually thought the Rams might be better on defense. The Chiefs are bad. We knew the Chiefs were bad, and they keep winning despite it. The over-under for this game is 63.5 points. And I know. I said don't take gambling advice from me. But come on, 63.5? Take the over. I know. It's ridiculous. This is an NFL game. What do you mean take the over? This is the Rams and the Chiefs, though. The Rams have a suspect secondary, and the Chiefs don't have a secondary. You could swap their secondary for cardboard cutouts of people, and you'd get the same result. They can't guard anything. That's going to be an absolutely fun game. I don't even know who to pick right now, but I'm gonna take the Chiefs on the road. And the reason why is because the Rams have been offensively inconsistent. They lost Cooper Kupp again. He came back, and then it looked like he shredded his knee. I feel really bad for the guy. He was having a great year, and I hope he gets better and he recovers well. But Cooper Kupp's been in and out of the lineup this year, and he's out again. That's a big part of the Rams' weaponry. They still have a ton. You know what I mean? They still have Brandon Cooks. They still have Gurley. But it's tough with one less weapon. The Chiefs have weapons. They're all healthy. Patrick Mahomes eats his steak with ketchup, which I'll have to forgive him for, because I think he's going to go in there and win this game against the secondary that's going to give him basically any look he wants. I'm going to jump ahead to Thursday, though, and jump ahead to Week 12. We've got a few minutes here left in the show, and we've got some big Thursday night football games, or Thursday football games, because it's Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day to you guys, by the way. But here's what's happening Thursday. I'm not going to get the chance to pick these games, so this is what I'm doing. First, Bears-Lions. Good game. Good game because the divisional familiarity there. I like the Lions to win that one. They're going to be at home on Thanksgiving. This is the Lions. That's sort of what they do. The next game is super interesting because it's Redskins-Cowboys. And you know that I'm a Redskins fan, and you also know that I'm a homer, and you know that I don't like Dak. So where are we going with this? I'm going to pick the Redskins to annihilate the Cowboys on Thanksgiving in Jerry World. Yes. 4:30 p.m. Book it. The Redskins haven't given anybody a reason to believe that they have a high offensive output coming their way. But the reason why I don't think the Cowboys can make the playoffs is this game right here. That, and I don't think they're beating Atlanta today either. This game, though, is important because the Redskins are at the top of the division, and the Cowboys can really fight their way back in it. But the Redskins defense knows how to make Dak Prescott make decisions that Dak Prescott is clearly not capable of making. Not capable of making it. All right? That's just what it is. That defensive line with Matt Ioannidis and Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, is, in my opinion, a top 3 defensive line in football. Deron Payne's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, by the way. So with all of those things included, the fact that the Redskins are the only team to contain Dak Prescott all year long and have largely contained running backs all year long, save for that one game against Atlanta, that you think Dallas has a chance to win this game? I mean, okay. And then, of course, the Thursday night game, the Thursday night Thanksgiving game, Falcons v. Saints. Falcons visit the Superdome, and I want to pick Atlanta. The Saints don't have a great defense, but that defense is much better now than when they played earlier in the season and the Falcons lost to them in overtime. Plus, Atlanta's offense, it's struggling. They have weeks where they look lights out like they did 2 weeks ago against the Redskins. I mean, they couldn't stop them. They went through Washington like fire through paper. It was an unreal offensive performance. And then they go against Cleveland and lay an egg. The Saints aren't as good defensively as Cleveland, so Atlanta's going to score their points. But Atlanta defensively, they look only slightly better than the Chiefs do. When they play real offenses, they look only slightly better than the Chiefs. And the Saints aren't a real offense. The Saints are the realest offense. Like I said, Drew Brees, the most accurate quarterback ever. Michael Thomas, the best pass-catching wide receiver of at least this season. Those two guys are playing on another level. And that's not even accounting, Taysom Hill and everything else that they do and incorporate so well. Sean Payton is so brilliant with his play calling. They're not just good, they're fantastic. I think the Saints win on NBC to close out Thanksgiving night. I hope you all have a great Turkey Day. I hope you all are thankful for everything. I'm thankful for you and the fact that you've taken time to listen to me today. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. I'll see you all next week.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chatter, Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.